Alright, so the second video that I'm making, I'm doing it about the detail B2, which is a uh, sill detail called, and it's on sheet, let me get there, it is on sheet AE502. So what this detail is trying to show us is it's showing us the sill, so it's showing us how the water is going to be kept out of the structure, basically. It shows us what waterproofing is needed, where it's needed, and we go to the specifications in Google, and I'm going to show you guys what this detail is calling for. So first we'll start with this section down here. A lot of it is pretty easy. Brick veneer, we all know what that is. Bricks on the outside. Now insulation, I had to go find what insulation would be. So I went to the specs. It's in the volume 2, page 48. Once you get into the thermal insulation, this one is the mineral wool board insulation. So it's above grade vertical wall or cavity wall. So the manufacturers that they say would be good or that are allowed in the bid are the Cavity Rock DD, Thermofiber, Rim Barrier 45, or equivalents as long as they're approved by the architect. So that's what that insulation is. Right there is what I believe that detail is calling for. Oh yeah, I don't have to. So we see that insulation there, and it goes, between the brick and before the concrete wall and the regular wall. So it insulates there, and it's not only for thermal insulation but also for moisture. And we know that because of these weeps. Now weeps, I saw the weeps and I thought, I don't know what weeps are, so I did a Google search for weeps. And what weeps are, weep brick right here. They call them weep holes. And this was a really good picture that I found of it, but weep holes. Here are weep holes. So you can see inside the brick there's actual holes or spaces. And this picture better explains exactly what they are and what they do. So with the weep holes, they actually allow water to go through the brick and then drain down to the concrete, stay off the wall because of the waterproofing, and then eventually down and over and out. So the weep holes, they don't allow water in, they allow water to come out. Because water, if there's enough pressure and water, it will seep through the brick eventually. So the weep hole is towards the bottom and it allows airs into the cavity. So it allows things to flow through basically. Because if it's not, it's going to be stagnant and there's going to be nothing moving. So the weep hole allows air to flow through, which allows the water to drain out. The next part, so I talked about the weeps, embedded plate for structural. So this is basically a plate embedded into the concrete that you can put other things into so that they're there. It says C structural because they're placed in different places where the structure needs it. And here the structure is actually needing it for this lintel. Now I didn't know what a lintel was, so I had to Google search that as well. And we'll go look. The lintel is kind of like a header, but it's a little bit different because it's typically used with brick. And it's similar, it's like a header or a beam, but for smaller areas is what I'm seeing from this. So a lot of people will make the lintel out of just plain concrete. What the lintel that is called out in this drawing is more like this L shape right here. So the lintel will tie into the embedded plate. You can see the lintel is right here. They also want us to paint it. So the lintel goes here, it goes underneath the brick where it's needed, and then it goes up and it bolts into the plate here, which is into the concrete, so it's nice and sturdy and it stays all together, helps hold up the brick. And it also allows for water to run down and then through the weeps, through the wool insulation. So that's that for that side. Well, and then the architectural form concrete wall has been talked about in the videos. It's just a wall that is finished basically so that it looks nice so that it can be inside of a building however the architect wants it to be. Now for this side, it's pretty standard. It's just your normal wall. your normal framing. So framing depends on where in the building you're looking at how it's going to frame it, so they don't give us any specifics there because we're not really interested in that for a sill detail. Same thing with the gypsum board. It says see the finished plans for exactly what and where. Same thing with the concrete slab on deck. See the structural for exactly what and where. What we are interested is right here, this sill sealer set on full bed of sealant. This is something that I also had to Google, and we'll go to Google and see it. Where is it? Sill sealer. So sill sealer is typically some sort of plastic sealer. Tyvek is a way of sealing, but sill sealer is kind of a foamy plastic kind of thing, and it'll go underneath, so it'll go physically on the concrete and wrap up and around sometimes. They come in these big long rolls of 50 feet typically, different colors and different kinds. I didn't find what kind because I don't think it really matters what kind, just as long as it's the right size. So it wants the seal sealer set on a full bed of sealant right there, so that if water does come into here, it won't seep all the way into here and then out. It'll just run straight down. You can see there's that nice angle there. So if it does, it'll get down and around. Because right here on the wall, you'll see that there's plywood and then Tyvek or some other type of waterproofing so that the water will run straight down and not get into it. One thing that I did forget to mention was this air barrier here. We have to make sure that there is a barrier of air between the insulation and the concrete, or the insulation and the sheathing, so that water can pass through and not sit there for a long time. It has that air, provides extra insulation, and allows water to flow because of the weeps that are in the bottom. And that's about it for the sill. There wasn't all that much to it. I know this video is a lot shorter than the other one I made, and I hope you guys were able to learn something.